You are born in Rome around 100 BCE. Normal family, normal house, normal life. Right up until the moment it isn't. Because one morning a man in white robes walks through your front door like he owns it. Doesn't knock, doesn't wait. Just strides in and looks at you the way a butcher looks at a cow. You are 6 years old. Your mother starts crying. Your father starts bowing. And you're just standing there holding a piece of bread wondering what is happening. What's happening is this. You've been chosen. Out of every little girl in Rome, this man picked you. Sounds like an honor. Feels like a door closing forever. The man is the Pontifex Maximus, the highest priest in Rome. He speaks for the gods. And today the gods want you. Nobody says no to the gods. Your father knows it. Your mother knows it. And somewhere deep in your 6-year-old chest, you already know it too. You put down the bread. You don't finish it. That detail will bother you for years. First day at the house of the Vestals, they cut your hair off. No warning, no ceremony. A woman with cold hands and a bronze blade grabs your head and starts cutting. When she's done, there's a pile of hair on the floor that used to be yours. They carry it outside and hang it on a sacred tree in the grove. An offering to a goddess who will never say thank you. You get a white dress, a white veil, and a new title that makes grown men step aside when you walk past them. And then someone explains your job. That flame, the sacred fire of Vesta burning in the temple in the Roman Forum. Your entire reason for existing now is making sure that fire never goes out. Not for illness, not for storms, not for wars or earthquakes or the complete collapse of everything you know. Never. Romans believe that flame is the literal heartbeat of Rome itself. If it dies, the city dies. The empire crumbles. The gods turn their backs. You are 7 years old, and you are personally responsible for the survival of the greatest empire on earth. Sleep well. Training is not gentle, and nobody pretends it is. You grind grain by hand every single morning to make the sacred salt cake called mola salsa. Your palms blister. They heal. They blister again. Eventually, they just go hard and stop complaining. You memorize prayers so ancient that most Romans on the street can't even translate them anymore. You learn the correct way to pour wine at a sacrifice, which festivals need which rituals, how to slaughter a pig in a way that actually means something versus just making a mess. You learn which gods are generous and which ones are watching for mistakes. And you learn how to stand completely still in public while thousands of people stare at you. No fidgeting, no looking around, no showing that your feet are screaming after 2 hours on marble. You are not a person at a ceremony, you are the ceremony. But here's the thing, nobody actually tells you before you arrive. Everyone in Rome is terrified of you. Not the way they fear soldiers, not the way they fear a tax collector or a judge, the way they fear a lightning bolt. Like something enormous and ancient is standing right behind your left shoulder, and they really don't want to accidentally irritate it. You find this out for real when you're 10 years old and your litter passes a prisoner being marched to his execution. He looks up at you, just for a second, just eye contact through the crowd. The guards stop walking. Everyone goes quiet. Someone checks a very old law and confirms what everyone in the crowd already knows in their bones. The man walks free. You didn't do a single thing. You just existed in his direction at the right moment. That's the job. By the time you're a teenager, the politics of it start making real sense. And honestly, it's a lot. Rome's most important secrets live in this house. Wills that control fortunes. Private letters between generals. Documents that could ignite civil wars or end powerful careers overnight. Senators and emperors and the richest men in the world hand them to the Vestals because you are the only institution in the entire city that nobody seriously believes can be bribed or bullied. Every faction wants the Vestals on their side. Every faction knows better than to push too hard. You sit front row at the gladiatorial games, front row at every public trial, best seat at every triumph parade when generals come home covered in glory and foreign blood. The entire crowd shifts and murmurs when you arrive. Even emperors nod at you first. You have no husband, no children, no vote, no say in where you go or what you do or what your days look like. But you have more quiet power than almost any man in Rome will ever get close to. It's a strange trade. You spend enough years inside these walls, and you stop being sure whether you got the good end of it or the bad one. The night watch shifts are what really break something open in you. 2 a.m. The temple is cold and empty. The city outside has finally shut up for once. It's just you and the fire and the sound of your own breathing. You feed it carefully. Specific wood cut to specific lengths, burned at specific times in a specific way. Because you know what happened to the Vestal 3 generations back, who let it go out. They stripped her of her robes, locked her in a dark room with nothing but bread and water and no light, beat her, made her confess in front of Rome, whether it was an accident or something worse. Not killed, Romans almost never kill Vestals. That would be too quick and too clean and frankly too merciful. Just destroyed, slowly, in public, until there was nothing left worth destroying. So you watch that flame like it's the last living thing on earth. Because on the worst nights, the long cold ones, when Rome feels very far away, and the fire feels very small, it sort of feels like it is. And it never dies on your watch. Not once. Not in 30 years. You are proud of that. You are allowed to be proud of that. 15 years in, and something shifts that you don't have a word for. You stop counting the days. You stop missing the life you never got to have. The grief of it goes somewhere quieter, somewhere deeper, and something else grows in the space it left. You know this city better than most people who were born free in it. You have watched emperors rise and choke and fall, while you ground your salt cake and tended your fire. You saw Nero's Rome burn. You watched generals march back from wars at the edge of the known world. You sat front row at trials that changed history, and nobody asked your opinion, and somehow your opinion was the only one that didn't need to be asked, because just your presence already said everything. 2 decades pass, and now you're the senior Vestal. The little girls who arrive white-faced and terrified look at you the way you once looked at the older women. Like you might not be entirely human, like they're not completely sure you ever sleep. You were that girl once, looking at a woman who seemed made of stone and ritual and wondering if there was anything underneath. There is. There always is. But you learned a long time ago that showing it doesn't serve anyone in this house, least of all you. 30 years end quietly, not with a ceremony, not with a crowd. The state hands you a pension and a house near the forum and a handshake and says you're free now. Free. Men start showing up almost immediately. Rich men, ambitious men. Men who understand that marrying a retired Vestal is like marrying a blessing with a dowry. The social status alone is worth a fortune. Most retired Vestals don't marry. Because here's the thing about freedom that nobody warns you about. When you have never really had it, you don't know what shape it's supposed to take. You know how to recite prayers older than the city itself. You know how to make sacred bread in the dark from memory. You know how to walk into a room of 10,000 Romans and give them nothing but absolute stillness and have them feel it like a physical thing. What you don't know is how to just be a woman in Rome on a Tuesday with nowhere to be and nothing required. 30 years of a life with every hour already spoken for, and now the hours just sit there, waiting, asking you what you want. You never learned how to answer that question. Some people call that tragedy. You call it complicated. There's a difference. You die at 62, ancient by Roman standards, embarrassingly old almost. The pension came on time every single month without fail. The garden was small, but the light in it was good. People still moved out of your way at the market, 3 decades after your service ended, which honestly never stopped being useful, and you never stopped being quietly grateful for it. They record your name in the official registers of the Vestal College. They bury you with full honors. A priest says the old prayers over your grave, the right ones, done correctly. You would have noticed if they hadn't. And somewhere across the city right now, in a temple that permanently smells of smoke and old stone, and something that has no name, a 7-year-old girl in a white dress is staring at a flame with wide, terrified eyes, feeding it the right wood at the right time, in the right way, just like you taught her. The city goes on. The fire burns. Rome keeps breathing. It always does. It always will. Until it doesn't. If you made it this far, you already know this channel goes places most history content won't. Subscribe if you want to keep living these lives. And if there's a rank, a dynasty, or a world you want to be dropped into next, drop it in the comments. We read all of them.